Ready?
We are ready.
Okay, today is August 14th, 2025. Meeting is now open at 3:58 p.m. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the county boardroom. We'll do a roll call. Donald Gifford.
Present.
Randy Bennett.
Here.
Diane Bruce.
Here.
Jonathan Davidson.
Here.
And I'm Melissa Kimmerling. And then also attending is Carrie Plummer-Galecki, Board Secretary and Assistant HR Director, and Jody Riddell, HR Director. All right, item 1 is public comments. Carrie, do we have anyone wanting to speak during the open comments portion of the meeting?
No, we do not.
All right, we'll move to item 2 to approve the minutes of the June 18th, 2025 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. I'll second.
Motion by Davidson, second by Bennett. Please vote.
Five yea, motion carries.
Great. Item 3 is to discuss and make recommendations to Sarpy County separation from county service policy. Jody Riddell.
Hi, good afternoon, board members. So the policy in front of you is a slightly updated version. The difference between this one and the previous one, we removed the layoff language. That's now a separate policy, and just simplified and updated some of the language. Otherwise, it's pretty consistent with the version you've seen previously.
Were you contacted by anyone to request to make comments on this policy?
No.
Okay. Since I see no one coming forward, I'm closing the time for comments. Or no one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule. Therefore, no comment period was provided. Apologies. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll motion. I'll second.
Motion by Gifford, second by Bennett to approve the separation from county service policy. Please vote.
Five yea, motion carries.
Great. Item 4, discuss and make recommendations to updated Sarpy County attendance policy. Jody?
Yes, one key change to call the board's attention to, we substituted elected officials and department heads for supervisors as our departments have gotten bigger and bigger, and with our public safety mission, we have folks who are not necessarily going to call their elected official department head. They're going to call their shift supervisor or their supervisor. So that's the real change throughout. You'll see the word supervisor instead. It just makes more sense as our workforce continues to grow. It's a good idea.
Yeah. The only thing I saw was really random, but on page 2, in your bulleted list of numbers, you have 7 twice. 5, 6, 7, 7. So
Thank you.
Just a little thing that I noticed. Not substantial. Jody, were you contacted by anyone to request to make comments?
No.
Okay, no one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule. Therefore, no comment period was provided. Any discussion, or do we have a motion?
I have a question. You're substituting supervisor for elected official, or what was the other?
Or department head.
Okay. Do you believe that there's 100% awareness of who the supervisor would be so that all confusion could be avoided in the future?
Yes, I think almost all the departments that I'm aware of, they have an SOP for who you report to when you're sick. And when we put it before the management board, we had a discussion on this. Do folks know who they call? And yes, they do, particularly for those public safety folks. So if you're E911, you know who your shift supervisor is and who you should be calling. So we discussed that with both the employees review board and the management board, and they actually both preferred the supervisor language because when folks start, you report to this person.
As long as they know. Thank you.
It's a great question. Any further discussion, or do we have a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion by Gifford, second by Bruce to just recommend the approval to the Sarpy County attendance policy with the change of the numerals on that second page. And if no further board discussion, we can vote.
5 yay, motion carries.
Moving right along, Jody. Item 5, discuss and make recommendations to the updated Sarpy County holiday policy.
This was last updated in 2023. There were really no significant changes. The language was just simplified for clarity.
Okay. Did anyone request to make comments on this?
No.
No one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule. Therefore, no comment period was provided. Any discussion, or do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Davidson, second by Bruce, to recommend approval to the revisions to Sarpy County holiday policy. Please vote.
Five yay, motion carries.
Okay, I'm super interested in this next one. I don't accrue vacation where I work, so I always like to see what everybody else is getting at their job. So we're going to look at item 6, discuss and make recommendations to updated Sarpy County vacation leave policy.
So there's just one real key change. The employees group, when they were looking at this, they asked us to make the accrual schedule a little more clear. So if you look at the chart, it now reads upon the first day of the 6th year of service, to be really clear on when the accrual for the next category begins. So that's the real change. Before it said 1 to 5, 6 to 9. And so we just clarified it's upon the first day of your 6th year of service that you start at that next accrual level. So that's the change in this policy.
Very specific.
Yeah, it is.
Were you contacted by anyone to request to make comments?
No.
Since no one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule, therefore no comment period was provided. Any discussion?
So it's based on the hire date of the employee. Okay.
Yes, so it'll be on your upon hire to years 5. It's the 3.385. And then upon the first day of your 6th year, you move to the next category.
And hire date being your first start date, not like I signed my contract June 1st and I didn't start till September. Like consider that a hire date.
Yes.
Okay, start date.
Yes.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll move to accept the vacation policy as presented.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Oh, yes, please, go ahead.
Sorry.
In section 2A, it references vacation requests that should be approved by their elected officials / department head. This is,
And that one is that way on purpose because it's for new hires.
Okay.
So when we look at new hires, those first 6 months are really their training
Probationary.
policy, and we really don't want, that's because they're under probation. So in that case, we want it to be above their supervisor. We do want it for that specific instant to be elected official. or
because it's on
department
an
head.
exception basis, it requires division head.
Exactly.
Okay.
You are correct, sir.
Thank you.
Good catch and great discussion. Okay, so we had a motion by Bennett. Do we have a second to approve?
I second.
Okay, great. Motion by Bennett, second by Davison, to recommend approval of the revisions to Sarpy County vacation leave policy as presented. We can vote.
5 yay, motion carries.
All right, item 7, discuss and make recommendations to the updated Sarpy County sick leave policy. Jody?
Again, this one was just revised in the last year. There aren't any major changes, and we just simplified for clarity here.
I had one question. I asked Carrie earlier, but just clarity on whether employees understand this. When we talk about sick leave being able to be used for childbirth, and then obviously you can kick into your vacation up and beyond that, do you recognize adopting a newborn as something?
Yes, in section 3E, in the parentheses there, biological step adopted.
Yes. Okay, because when it says like 3A, when the employee is incapacitated, okay, so you're just thinking the person's physical body during childbirth is incapacitated versus it's necessary because of an adoption. So that's an item
how we
E.
divided up. And the link is live to the Nebraska legislator, to the revised statute, so they can see all the variety.
Great. And if that were to be updated, it would always link to the current interpretation of that rule. Okay, great. That was
What was the change? You said they were minor, but I don't know what the change
Oh,
was.
yeah, The format is a little different. It's a
Oh,
little
just
simplified
okay,
so
yeah.
so it's just a little easier to read.
Okay.
And groups sort of liking with like so that you can go through.
Okay.
Were you,
And we did update,
Go
we
ahead.
did update that the link is now live to the correct
Okay.
place.
it's always great to check links. People move stuff all the time on the other side, don't they? Were you contacted by anyone on this?
No.
Okay, great. Any discussion? Since, let me see, no one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule, therefore no comment period was provided. Do we have a motion?
No motion.
Second.
All right. Motion by Gifford, second by Bruce, to recommend approval of the revisions to Sarpy County sick leave policy as presented, and we can vote.
5 yea, motion carries.
Okay. Item 8, discuss and make recommendations to updated Sarpy County bereavement leave. Jody?
The only update to this is a format change. It moves the eligibility to the front and center of it. So it becomes eligibility is at section number 1. Before it was a little bit deeper in the document. So that's all. It's just the format change.
But no change in the amount of days for any sort of relationships or anything like that?
No, and it still gives elected officials and department heads in certain situations leeway to add an additional day should they so choose.
And item E allows an employee to tap into vacation time if
Absolutely.
they should choose above and beyond that.
You are correct.
And typically those are approved. Managers are typically pretty supportive of those.
Well, I've only been here for 3 months, but my understanding is yes. And all the managers I've met, I have no reason to believe that anyone would deny that.
Okay. Discussion, or Jody, were you contacted by anyone
No.
to request to make comments? Any discussion, team? Okay. Since no one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule, therefore no comment period was provided. If no discussion, do we have a motion?
I'll move to accept the bereavement leave as presented.
Second.
Motion by Bennett, second by Bruce, to recommend approval of revisions to Sarpy County bereavement leave policy as presented. Please vote.
5 yea, motion carries.
Okay. Item 9. Discuss and make recommendations to updated Sarpy County civil leave policy. Jody?
So in this one, the key change to note is section 3D, voting time. We put explicitly the Nebraska revised statute noting that any registered voter who doesn't have at least 2 consecutive non-working hours between the time the polls open and close is entitled to take paid time off from work to vote, which is a statute we've now added it to the policy.
That's great. So that's consistent with state expectations?
It is,
As if
yes.
you don't have at least 2 non-working hours?
Yes. And the statute it's accurate, it's the right ruling, so.
Yeah, that's great. If they were there, say they left right away at the beginning of 2 hours and they're still in line, polls are taking, it would tap into vacation time. They wouldn't be in trouble. Any disciplinary action, you wouldn't expect them to leave. Let's say they had been in line for 2 hours and they had not yet had an opportunity to vote. Would they just contact their supervisor and explain the situation?
Yes, I would think so. But it is important to note that the employee's leadership can specify the hours in which the employees go and do it. So the employee's supervisor can say, no, I prefer you to go before you come to work or at the end of the workday.
Sure.
But yes, should they happen in the middle of the day, they would need to call their supervisor and sort out
Yeah.
if they had been gone more than 2 hours, if they were okay to take vacation or comp time or flex their schedule, depending on what their job's operational duties are.
Okay. Okay, you feel like employees are aware of that and wouldn't abandon a polling station in order to get back within the 2 hours or anything?
I don't know that I've discussed voting with employees to have a really good answer.
Yeah, and we can do mail-in voting now in
Yeah.
Nebraska, so perhaps it's a
This is a normal
non-issue.
policy.
Yeah,
what
this is
most
pretty
businesses have.
consistent.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
think if they get done in less than 2 hours, they come back early, or do they always just take the 2 hours?
It took 2 hours. These lines are long. Come on.
They should, depending
should.
on when their workday is and their work
should.
schedule, yes. This allows for 2 hours if it's outside of, if they don't have 2 consecutive hours.
I get it, but which most people don't have 2 consecutive scheduled, so, but we haven't had that many long lines in
No,
this area.
no.
I have yet to vote in Nebraska, so I'll
I'm-
defer to your
I'm-
expertise on that
Yeah,
one.
we don't have that many long lines.
Yeah, they're not too bad. I mean, 2 is probably, I'm just wondering
And if you can flex on, because they're flexible during the day, it's
Yeah.
usually busiest right after work. So
Yeah.
if they want to,
Oh, no, I did vote once in Nebraska, and you're right. It took me about 30 seconds. Yeah, right after I arrived. It was very fast.
We've got a good thing going.
yeah, it's pretty good. And
But generally, where I've seen in other jobs, folks usually do this first thing in the morning or last thing in the afternoon because it's usually near their home.
that's true. So then you're potentially not even worried about coming back. Should it be the end of the day? Okay, awesome. Any discussion? Otherwise, were you contacted, Jody, by anyone? Okay. No one requested to appear before the board to give their views on the proposed rule. Therefore, no comment period was provided. So do we have a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion by Gifford and second by Bruce to recommend approval of the revisions to Sarpy County Civil Leave Policy as presented. And if no further board discussion, please vote.
5 yea, motion carries.
Okay. Moving on to item 10, discuss and make recommendations to updated Sarpy County Personnel Files Policy. Jody?
There were no changes to this one. This is just a revision for the group to see, and then we'll update the last date of review.
Yeah, I appreciate this. This is one that I had a lot of questions about another policy because of my unfamiliarity with this policy. So that helps put some things in context. So thank you for that. Were you contacted by anyone to request? And you say no changes. So no one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule. Therefore, no comment period was provided. Considering no changes, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Davidson, second by Bruce to recommend approval to the Sarpy County Personnel Files Policy as presented. If no further discussion, please vote.
5 yea, motion carries.
Inclement weather. Good time of year to look at this one. Get this all straight before we get into this time of year. So item 11, discuss and make recommendations to the updated Sarpy County inclement weather policy. Jody?
Section 2B specifically says the county board chair shall have the sole discretion and authority to implement a severe inclement weather closure. Section 2D, Delta, said elected officials and department heads are responsible for ensuring their employees are aware of their status as an essential employee. And then we added Section 3, which is not related to weather, but should there be an emergency in the facility, pipes break, heat, air goes out, and the facility becomes unsafe, unworkable, then in that case, the elected official or department head with notification to the county administration prior to closure, they do have that. Should we need to do it for a short time for our facilities or maintenance team to do the great work they do to get the building back up and going?
Sure. I think that just happened. I think they had a situation on when the sirens were going off on Saturday with some testing, wondering about what happens when stuff like that. So great. Okay. Well, any discussion on this one? I know we just had a hearing kind of related to this. So does this feel like this clears up some of what came into confusion previously? And Jody, were you contacted by anyone?
No.
You were not. Okay. No one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule. Therefore, no comment period was provided. And if no discussion, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Davidson, second by Bennett to recommend approval of the revisions to the Sarpy County inclement weather policy as presented. If no further board discussion, please vote.
Five yea, motion carries.
Okay, item 12. Discuss and make recommendations to the updated Sarpy County cell phone allowance policy. Jody?
Yeah, this lays out the policy for how we have employees who, for a variety of public safety facilities, that kind of reason, they may have a phone. So this lays out the policy. It highlights that the employee and the supervisor have to do the acknowledgement form that's attached. and submit it with the department's budget material. Then this will be reviewed by the budget committee, could be approved or not. It also highlights importantly that this is provided as a taxable benefit and is not intended to fully cover the full entirety of the cell phone bill. So it's just giving the expectations of how you put forward the request and who the ultimate approver would be.
I know we had some discussion prior to the meeting starting about this. Do we have discussion about this policy?
Yeah, it's very nebulous in this thing what constitutes these levels of usage. Okay, and so what one person and one department may view as limited usage could be heavy usage to another one, and I don't know that it can actually, it's not spelled out here exactly.
And we discussed this particularly when the management review board was looking at this, and I think it's hard to get really specific because different departments use it pretty differently. That's where we're really going to rely on leaders and managers to make that case, and then ultimately it'll be the budget authority the budget committee who's going to approve it.
Has it even been discussed just to have one level? Either it's this or it's nothing.
So that hasn't come up in any of the meetings that I've been a part of. No.
Even with employees, that hasn't come up?
No, it didn't come up with the employees.
It seems like that would take a lot of this, nebulous, I guess, decision-making on whether it's actually heavy usage, light usage, medium usage. It's just one fee, that's it. You either get it or you don't.
One reimbursement.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like say, I thought, for example, minimum usage less than 10 days per month. Do you ever have situations where people say, well, that's what I thought. Here's my cell phone from last month and it was 20, or just the inconsistencies. Is it ever an administrative nightmare for anybody to keep on top of that? Or I don't know. Has that been a problem?
It says on there that if he goes over that it's still that. If it's just like an on-call type thing, if it's a one-off, it looks like it just stays at their normal rate.
Right. So that would make me think employees are likely to just put forward high just in case, which I don't know, we were kind of talking about, does it make sense to have lots of, but if managers didn't bring it up, that's good to consider.
Yeah, I mean, their supervisor is responsible for signing off on it. And so the supervisor should be well aware of how often the employee is using it.
Sure. And they're just leaving it and no appeal process at the end of the month with any cell phone bills or anything crazy.
And if the budget committee looks at this and says, this is not in the budget and we're not approving these, then they don't.
Okay. So there is a situation then where different employees working for the county, someone might get a cell phone allowance and someone might not?
Certainly, if the budget committee so chooses, the committee will review each request and may approve, deny, or modify.
So it's not a guaranteed benefit.
When they put the request in, once the supervisor does, it goes to the budget committee
Okay.
for their ultimate review.
Is that pretty consistent with some other expense processes in the county?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Any thoughts or other questions? Jody, were you contacted by anyone
No.
to request to make comments? No one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule, therefore no comment period was provided. Any further discussion considering the comments, or do we have a motion on the existing policy?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Oh, Diane beat ya.
Yeah.
All right. Motion by Davison, seconded by Bruce, to recommend approval of revisions to the Sarpy County cell phone allowance policy as presented. If no further discussion, we can vote.
5 yay, motion carries.
Thank you, Jody, for your review of all those policies. You're getting good at all this. So it's just your second or third meeting, right? Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, item 13 is adjournment. Do we have a motion to
Not yet.
adjourn?
I want to
Not yet?
ask a question.
Oh, great.
So, and this is just a concern for me to say, a lot of these were just administrative things. Being someone who leaves a job to come out here, I'm just wondering, is there a way, or is there a rule we have to meet monthly? Or is there a way to say, hey, you know what, none of this stuff is pressing. Can we wait until we have more pressing things in a meeting that we need to have the group meet for? Or is this something that's required by the board to?
Required quarterly, right?
We're required to meet quarterly,
Okay.
more often if needed. We've been trying, one of the initiatives this past year is to get the new personnel rules and regulations updated. So we want to divide it as to classified and unclassified employees. And so, and the board wants us to get those pushed out yet this year. So that's why we've been meeting more this year than we have in the past.
Okay, it's just this, I'm not saying it's a waste of time. It just seems we could have moved it with another meeting versus,
Diane,
these are all just administrative things that it's like, wow.
I get it. The other thing we don't want to have is some of the meetings that we had previously going through it was 2-hour meetings. Or
Right.
So they're trying to keep it within keep it moving forward
Right.
within the timeframes. And so it probably will drop off once the review is complete.
Right.
We're getting very close to being done.
Okay.
And I think a couple of the first ones had quite a bit of discussion, but every time, my perception has been every time it's like made that next round clearer because you're anticipating like the questions we had for this one, you kind of thought about before and like they're just getting a little bit cleaner each time. That's how I feel like I've experienced it. So maybe it's just getting more.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably have, depending on how fast I get through them, because they go through the employees board and the management board, maybe 1 or 2 more rounds and we'll have all of them done. So there shouldn't be that many more. We're getting quite close. It just takes a fair amount of time to get it through all the boards before it comes to you.
Okay, that's a good thought or question. Is that something that we need discussion and action on? Is that just something for you guys to discuss? Maybe outside
Our
related
next
scheduling?
meeting is going to be, it's a grievance hearing, but if we have any policies or anything we need to bring up, we'll bring those up before that grievance meeting. So it will be October 1st is the next meeting.
Yeah, and I am out of town for work on October 1st, so Diane, I think you're vice, so you would
Lucky
have to chair.
me. All right.
So make sure you're
I
here.
blame that on Randy, but
That's
okay,
right.
fine.
That's right. That's all right. Okay, any other discussions or items? Okay, then do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Bennett, second? I'll second.
Sorry, I'm like,
Can I do that? Second by Kimmerling.
sounds good.
If no further discussion, we can vote. Okay.
Diane, I need a vote from you. There you go.
It just came up,
Yeah,
I
it
promise
just came
you.
up.
Yeah.
5
I
yay,
was
motion
watching.
carries.
All right, meeting adjourned at 4:25 p.m.